Hi, I'm actually making this video directly after that last video because I am feeling like I need or I want to kind of just start getting into it. And then maybe also by making a second video, I can see if things are overlapping in the first video and maybe clean it up like I said before. So I'm just going to kind of film this now. Not really, I don't have a lot of structure, I'm not going to lie. On how to do this. I probably could do a lot better job if I sat down and really thought about it, but I also want it to be organic. So this is where we're at, and this is the way that I'm going forward. Um, Basically, I remember Beaver Street. My dad and my mom were not together there long. I believe that I just finished kindergarten. I might have had first grade with my mom there, but I don't think so. I remember around first grade, I started clinging to the teachers. And I think that might be because my mom left. So I had Mrs. Fry first year. And she taught me all about, metamorphosis and stuff with butterflies. And I remember second and third grade, I was still at Beaver Street. And that time I was in this class called MAC class, which is a multi-age classroom. Basically, I was quite smart as a kid, believe it or not. I was helping my aunt with college algebra at the time when I was like in second or third grade. I used to go to seminars where they would push you extra for brain power. But in the multi-age classroom, it was really cool because it's basically second through fifth grade, you're in the same classroom. You don't switch teachers. And all the kids from all those different grades are all together. So you learn at your own pace. They give you your work, but you just kind of get on with it. I used to be so fast at doing everything that I remember I would have spare time to go down to the hearing impaired classroom and learn some sign language on the side, which was something I was really fascinated at that time. I was also very fascinated with Native Americans. I used to make like old broomsticks into spears and do like cave drawings in the basement, an unfinished basement. Um, and I remember hanging out with this guy named Matthew, and he was a really good friend of mine, and I remember doing like hanging out with him all the time and that kind of stuff. Before I start going forward with where I'm going to go with this video, again, two things. So first is that in these videos I'm bringing up a lot of stuff, and I'm maybe not touching on it very deeply. So what I'm going to do is kind of watch these videos over, and I will write down if I think that there's something more that can go into that, and then maybe with throughout the videos there will be enough to collect to make a whole video just on that. The second thing is I don't fault my parents for anything. They were both really young. I can't imagine. My mom had kids at 15. My brother at 15, and then was with his father until 19, and then met my father, and within 2 years, they were having a baby and married again, and he was abusive. So I think it was kids just not having a clue on how to raise kids. I think that that's something that's kind of panning out a little bit as the generations go on because there's less pressure to have children or there's more options. So everything that happened, like, it just was what it was. You can't really change the circumstances that happened. Um, you know, it's uncomfortable to talk about, but I'm going to kind of talk about their arguments. I remember him throwing furniture around the house, and I remember hiding with the dog under the sink. Um, I know that sometime when I was far too young to have this conversation, but my mom was cheating on my father, I think, around the time that I was conceived. And the man was not, he was black. He was a black man. I've actually met him. He's a very nice guy. I think his name is Eddie. Sorry if I'm blasting all your business out there, Mom. Should have thought about that. Anyway, in one argument, my father said, um, in regards to my mother, that she thought about having an abortion when she was going to have you, and he was saying that to get back at her. And to me, I mean, at the time, I didn't really think much about it, but I mean, obviously, A, totally inappropriate, but B, fuck, I would have probably had an abortion too if I had had a baby with that man. But then she retaliated with, if you came out black, then he was actually going to give you up for adoption. So I don't really know who won in that situation. I feel like I'm the only loser. That my parents were telling me things that I was way too young to have the capacity to know about. This would have been, they used this in an argument before seventh grade, so that would have been before 11. Either way, it's just not appropriate to have that conversation. Um, I don't remember a lot more after that. I know as far as fighting goes, my dad kind of maintained that horrible temper for the rest of the time that I grew up with him. Um, and it's fucked me up in the sense that I've had to deal with the fact that I learned a lot of the behaviors from him and how to communicate. So I would get very frustrated, very explosive when I was younger, because that's just what I learned. It wasn't until my mom said to me in one argument or one time that I was very angry. And when we get to high school, I mean, a lot of my anger I feel like was justified because she was dating Larry, and I don't think he was very nice to me. Um, but she mentioned in one time that we were fighting that I was acting like my father, and that really put me in my place and made me really start thinking about my actions and the way in which I handle myself. So yeah, I've mentioned the college kid story, and I don't remember much else as far as violence goes. I do know that he would get mad at the car and he would break something, or throw tools at the car because he couldn't fix it. And I remember he has the shortest fuse in the entire that I've ever met, like in the entire world, and it made it very difficult for other people to deal with. I don't remember him being particularly nasty to me. I know there is one story of a time where we went to a Kmart and I wanted the pink Power Ranger gloves. There were these Power Ranger gloves that made little like wah wah noises when you pressed the button in the thumb. And I wanted the pink ones, and my dad wanted to give me blue, which everyone knows that Billy, the nerd, was the loser, so never gonna be blue. But I cried in the store, and he basically snatched me up to the point where like people were getting concerned. So he just grabbed the pink ones and we left. So I got the pink ones in the end. I do also have one other memory of sometime on Beaver Street in which he kind of grabbed me by the ankle and held me upside down, and I almost hit my head on the corner of the bed, and it was a wooden bed frame. So he got scared after that happened, and stopped kind of acting like that. There, the other memories I have of women um, after my mom leaving, I remember one woman. I don't remember who she was, to be honest. I don't remember her name. But she was helping me get out of the bath, and it was some time where like I was alone, and I had told her the reason why my mom left, and I don't. She never came back, so she took it as a fair warning, and maybe she already had seen the signs of my father being kind of crazy. But I had mentioned that, and she never came back. I never told my dad that I did that. And then apart from the violence, the really kind of dark part of my childhood is sexual behavior. Um, I was not molested, to my knowledge. I was not molested and or anything like that. But because I had a lack of parental supervision, um, I got into some very adult situations at a very young age. And I think I'm gonna. It's a cliffhanger. I'm gonna leave it at that because I think that video is entirely its own video, and I think that it gets so in depth into not normal that I think that we'll just cap this video and this will be the violence video because the sex video kind of bleeds for many years after, but it's particularly bad in second and third grade because of not knowing what I'm doing and then feeling a lot of shame and guilt about it. And yeah, I will get into that in more detail in the next video. But now you kind of know how my father was and the situations that arose of how he communicated, and maybe if I'm trying to link this back to who I am and how do I integrate this, it's definitely been a struggle. It's definitely been years and years and years of learning how to communicate properly and healthfully, and realizing, for example, with Joe, that relationships can be healthy and they don't have to be entirely psycho. Um, but but again, I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses, but they were kids, and everything. If you think back on their histories, then everything all plays into everything that happened. So yeah, um, that's it for this video. We'll see if it gets edited or merged into the first video or how it will go. But I think that this one's pretty clean, so I will just wrap it up there and call it a day.